While many have been shocked by the recent child sexual abuse, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. Many, many years ago, I worked as a child neglect social worker in Baltimore. I saw the danger to children up close and personal. I was with them in the ER. I was with them in the courtroom. I was with them when I had to remove them from their own homes. And I was with them as I tried to put them on the road to recovery and rehabilitation from what had been done to them, because I saw the permanent and indelible scars that this leaves on a child for all of their lives. For me, that experience as a young social worker so many years ago was a searing, searing experience. I learned from it. I grew up while I was working in it. And now, as a senator, I continue to devote my life to being able to work on this. This is why I'm so determined we're going to take what we hear today and turn it into an action plan. And we've worked on this in appropriations, putting into place programs with the Center for Missing Exploited Children, working with the FBI, the Marshal Services, and others. But again, our focus is really on prevention, protection, prevention, and deterrence. There's nothing more troubling than a child who's been physically, sexually, or emotionally abused, then abused again because of the failure for adults that they turn to who either don't listen and rebuff and reject them, or who do listen, but in order to protect the brand of an institution or the reputation of a team, don't report it. They abide by a cover-up of silence, a conspiracy of silence. So the child is doubly victimized. Those who abuse them, and then the system that turns their back on them. We're going to hear about some of this today. One from Mr. Sheldon Kennedy, a former professional hockey player who skated for the United States of America, abused in a minor league hockey coach, and by a coach his parents had come to trust. What was additionally troubling about Mr. Kennedy and his experience is that the abuse was allowed to continue despite the red flags. So we want to talk about that because we want to break that code of silence for preventing not only the first abuse, but the second abuse. Mr. Kennedy's story is not the first. There have been many examples in our history where children have been subjected to this second abuse, victimized a second time where they have been overlooked, ignored, or covered up. Well, this senator takes the position that no institution should ever be too big to report or too famous to report, and no adult should ever feel that they're protected because of the brand that they represent. My hope is that this hearing will point out what we need to do to help our children. Our job is to ensure that we have the right legislative program and the right prevention. There's currently a law on the books passed by on a bipartisan basis, the Child Abuse Prevention Treatment Act, originally in 1974. It's to provide funds with states for prevention and investigation and prosecution. We need to examine whether that law is sufficient or whether it needs to be amended. My own view is in recent years whether Congress should look at reform. It is my belief that every adult has a responsibility for a child. It takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a village to protect a child. And I believe regardless of who you are, if you see something, if you know something, then report it. If you see something, do something.